That's what you said. Yeah, that's what you said. You know that I need it. Feeling like Jonah, brothers alone now. How we gon' find our way? Feeling like Moses, man, the Lord chose us. Now we gotta find our way. Feeling like David, man, I done gave him all. I gotta find my way. You never feel me. I'm still feeling like Jonah, brothers alone now. How we gon' find our way? Feeling like Moses, man, the Lord chose us. Now we gotta find our way. Feeling like David, man, I done gave him all. I gotta find my way. You never feel me. That's what you said. That's what you said. Been through the fire, never burned, but instead love you forever, even more to the end. 'Cause all that I needed, thy hands have provided. Yeah, 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 yeah. All of them ups and downs. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Never knew it'd come this far, but now we're here. Yeah, yeah. Everything we ever knew, now we give it up to you. That's what he said. Been through the fire, never burned, but instead love you forever, even more to the end. 'Cause all that I needed, thy hands have provided. Feeling like Jonah, brothers alone now. How we gon' find our way? Feeling like Moses, man, the Lord chose us. Now we gotta find our way. Feeling like David, man, I done gave him all. I gotta find my way. You never feel me. I'm still feeling like Jonah, brothers alone now. We gon' find our way. Feeling like Moses, man, the Lord chose us. Now we gotta find our way. Feeling like David, man, I done gave him all. I gotta find my way. You never feel me. That's what you said. Yeah, that's what you said.
Welcome to Journey to Me podcast. Today I have Bryiana Richardson with me, and her topic today is the journey to me, a healthier you. Bryiana is a certified personal trainer who currently works as an athletic administrator. Her passion for fitness started over 10 years ago. Her playground PE teacher noticed that she was naturally an athlete. This realization launched her into a track career. During her time in track, she competed all around the world, ultimately affording her the opportunity to run track, pursue a degree in kinesiology at LSU. Upon completion of her collegiate career, Bryiana immediately launched into a personal training field, creating the opportunity to help individuals transform their lives by making their lifestyle changes. Bryiana's most recent accomplishment is writing a 5-day devotional, How to Repurpose the Mind. Her hope is to continue to give individuals the tool to live not only physically fit, but live spiritually fit as well. Wow. So welcome, Bryiana. Do you want to tell the audience, I want to speak to the audience for a second before we dive in?
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited for the conversation that we're going to have. When I was approached about this opportunity, of course, it was an immediate yes because of what you stand for and just the vision behind everything. So I'm glad that you chose me.
And you know, God always chooses who he see fit, and I try to make sure that I answer the call when you do it, because immediately when I see you, he was like, journey to a healthier life. So I was like, okay, let me lock eyes with this young lady and get her on board. Because if you don't, I have the pleasure of knowing her through church. She's an awesome young lady, fierce woman of God. She don't play about God, and I know God don't play about her. And I just love her passion. Like everything about her spirit just speaks life. So I want to touch on the last part of your saying. Physically, you want to make sure people that are physically fit, but not only physical fit, but spiritually fit. And talk about what that means to have that holistic approach on, you know, bringing the mind and the.
So like you just said, I have a holistic approach to well-being, where that is physically, spiritually, and emotionally fit as long as, spiritually, emotionally, physically fit. I feel like all of those areas of your life, they need to have some type of balance. If like one is out of whack, then my spiritual life, if my physical life is failing, then I'm not going to want to pray. I'm not going to even be able to at times if I'm sick. And then if I'm emotionally unwell, then of course I'm not going to want to get up and go work out and all those different things. So I think that we have to try to strive to have a balance with all of those. And even though balance, a complete balance, a balance in a way that we typically look at it, where we have all of them on an equal level. It may not always be equal level, but we have to make sure we're constantly feeding each one of those areas so that the other ones won't be suffering and vice versa, because we do want to live healthy. And especially as women of God on the spiritual side of it, then we want to make sure that we are out there doing ministry. And I don't think we should allow our mental and physical health to be things that impact ministry, especially when it's things that we can control.
Yeah.
So I think our ministry part, that has to go forward, because that's our purpose and what God has put us to do.
And so that's awesome, because so what I hear you saying is that we cannot do one thing without the other. We can't get ourselves physically together if our spiritual life is a mess. And we can't get ourselves spiritually together if our physical is a mess. And I agree with that, because, you know, one thing about me, I am a spiritual being, and we all are spiritual beings. But for me, I can always tell when my spiritual life is lacking, because then I start gaining weight in the physical. I start, you know, entertaining stuff that I wouldn't normally entertain because my flesh is standing up versus being under submission like I wanted to do, right? And so let's talk about how at a young age, 10 years old.
Yeah, so it's so funny, because it was one day on the schoolyard, just randomly, the teacher like, y'all line up, we're going to have a race. And whoever wins this race is going to go on to the, I think it was like a middle school track meet or whatever. So I won out of everybody in my grade level, and I was the one to represent. I think it was me and another person actually that went on to represent the school citywide, and then I did well citywide, and then I went on to statewide, and that was like in 2004. It was right before Katrina, so that kind of launched my track career, and me kind of, you know, just following that passion of moving.
So it launched you into purpose, is what I hear you say.
Yeah, basically.
Because God is so intentional. Like you said out of nowhere. No, it wasn't out of God ordained that moment, because he had already knew that you were going to kill that race, right? He already knew that he wanted you to work on the physical, but also work on the spiritual. And he knew that both of those things had to line up. So first he had to put in your mind that I got this. Right? And then the physical had to fall in place. So was that scary for you?
It was not at the time, because I was just doing what I usually do. Like, I'm just on the playground running around, but now it's just like in a structured, I guess like a structured race where you like, okay, you know, when the mark say go, and like everybody go at the same time.
Yeah.
Whereas usually during PE, just running around, chasing people. Yeah, you know, being random. So then I really wasn't nervous. I would say I didn't start experiencing like that nervousness and everything probably until like that state meet, when it's like, oh my God, is everybody? And crazy enough, on the way to the state meet was in Baton Rouge. So on our way to the track meet, it was raining, and we got into an accident on the way to that track meet. So I didn't even get to run the race that I was supposed to run on there. I ended up being like an alternate or something at that time. But, you know, it was, since you said that about, you know, that was God's purpose from the beginning. And that was kind of like Satan's way of being like, okay, no, I see where this is going. So we're going to try to stop this. And I mean, it still didn't work, but you know, he put a little barrier in there, a little hurdle in there.
Yeah. And then too, divine intervention. Yeah, the devil tried to stop you, but God put you right in the race that was set for you.
Yes.
Like he already knew, like you said, that you were nervous. So he had to take your mind off of what needed to be to focus on where he was taking you, because you still ran.
Yeah.
And it wasn't an alternate race. It was your race.
Yeah, it was.
I'm pretty sure you conquered that race.
But I'm pretty sure I did the best that I can, given the circumstances.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still ran the race that, like you said, like that was actually designed for me.
And so when you ran that race, did you feel like, okay, this is what I want to do now?
Definitely 100%.
Mhm.
100%. I'm like, I love this. Like, just running. I'm winning. I'm beating people. Like, yes, let's
Okay.
go.
All right. So how did that lead you to, getting into LSU and becoming a personal trainer?
Yeah, so from that moment when I was 10 years old, that just led me. The following year was Katrina. So where we went to Oklahoma for Katrina. The church that we ended up at, there was a coach at that church, and he was a track coach actually. He was a track coach. So that ended up, I made that connection with him. And so I was on his track team. And then from there, like, I just kept on being developed as a young athlete. I started running the hurdles, which was like my main event. And you probably noticed about me by now, but like everything I do, like I want to do it great. I want to do it to the best of my ability. So when we moved to Oklahoma, I wasn't always coming in first, and I wasn't always a great athlete, but I wanted to become better because I did have that belief in myself that I could do better. I kept working towards it, and I was with multiple teams. We moved back to New Orleans, and I was with different teams when we moved back to New Orleans. And then I started competing like nationally. So we would have like the Junior Olympics and everything. Those are meets that you have to qualify for. Those are usually like in the summertime. So I started qualifying for the Junior Olympics. And, the more of that success and the more of that exposure that you get, the more you want of it. So
that desire.
that desire. Like I wanted to be good. I wanted to be on the podium. I wanted to, do all of these different things. So that just kept me having passion and, just continuing to be the best that I could be. And it's this one instance I could think about. I think it was my last year before I was going into college, and I did the 400 hurdles. I was doing the 400 hurdles at this time. And I remember I wanted to break 1 minute in the 400 hurdles. And so my fate move was me running around my house for under a minute. I'm like, I'm running around the house for 59 seconds or 58 seconds or whatever. And then like, it would be sometimes where I would just like have I would put the timer on my phone and I would just high knee in one place for 58 seconds, 59 seconds, because I know I wanted to break that minute. And then that was my fate move. And that season I was able to break a minute. And like looking at it now as a adult, I was like, girl, do you understand what you were doing even at like 16, 17 years old? Like, I didn't understand the implications. I just know I want to break a minute. I'm like, what can I do? But like, just that as an adult, I'm able to look at that like, this is what God wants to, like, this is putting faith behind our action and all and everything like that. So yeah, that just continues to strive, ultimately led me to getting a scholarship to LSU and allowing me to be able to study kinesiology as well, which is the study of movement. Okay. If anybody doesn't know what kinesiology.
Okay, that's one thing that I was just about to get into. What is the study of kinesiology? Like, what does that entail?
Yeah, so kinesiology is just the study of human movement. Yeah, you're awesome interviewing too. Like, you're paying attention and you're saying that is awesome.
Because
basically. So it's under a couple of different umbrellas fall under that. So under kinesiology, you can do like a sports management type of degree, or you can do personal training, you can do physical therapy, occupational therapy, all of those different things. But the track that I chose was fitness studies, which is personal training ultimately. So you just learn about the body, learn about how the body operates, and just, basic stuff like blood pressure and those health risks, things like that. Just getting the basic knowledge of what all of that is.
Let's go back to you running in place. How you say you had the fate move. At that young age, you knew what was necessary to put your fate to action.
Yeah.
So how has that little girl influenced the spiritual walk that you're on right now?
That is powerful. When I tell you, like, whenever I think about that, I'm like, wow, you were already believing on a different level before you even had all of this scripture and, knowledge, and just even having more lived experiences as well. So I guess like it has just kept me motivated to keep on doing those faith moves, keep on believing, even though it may not be something as physical as standing in place high kneeing in place for, 50, 58, 59 seconds. Now it just reminds me like, hey, whatever I'm believing for, I need to make sure I'm putting some action behind that and not just talking about it and just believing it and waiting for something to happen. It's like, no, like, okay, yeah, you're believing for this, but you also gonna pair the action.
Pair that movement, right? So the study of kinesiology is the study of movement. So God is showing you how to move in the physical, but he's also showing you how to marry that to your spiritual life.
Absolutely.
So what are some tools that you use to line those two principles up?
Yeah, so part of it, so it's two parts for me, especially when we're talking about the physical aspect of things, what we're putting in our bodies, how we're nourishing our bodies, sleep, the actual everything that's physical, I would say internal physical, and then we have the external physical or like the working out part of it and the additional action. So I make sure that even if I can't get my 3 workouts in a week or, whatever the case is, I'm making sure like I'm being mindful how much I'm walking while I'm at work, how much I'm walking throughout the day. Just being finding opportunities to get my body moving rather than just like sitting. Cause I mean, my job is mainly desk work right now. I'm an administrator now. So I do a lot of stuff at the computer. So even sitting there for a while, I'm like, okay, every now and then I need to get up, go walk around. We have a track and we have an indoor track in the offices. So like just go and walk around that track sometimes or go and just shoot some hoops on the basketball court. And then that physical part, just being aware of what we're putting in our bodies. I try to stay away from like processed foods and everything as much as possible. A good trick is to make sure you're like shopping on the outside aisles of the grocery store because that's where you have like your fresh fruit, your fresh produce, fruits, veggies, things that are like less processed. You have your dairies and your cheeses, which is processed too, but it's not as processed as the stuff that's in those middle aisles, which is those breads and those pastas and all of these things are fine, the highly refined things.
Attractive things.
And I always tell people this, whenever like they'll see me eat some fried chicken or whatever, I'm like, I never said that I don't eat this stuff. I'm just very aware of how much of it that I'm putting inside of my body. I'm very aware of, okay, if I am eating this fried chicken though, I'm also going to make sure my other meals are like very protein dense or nutrient dense to where it could kind of balance out a little bit. Yeah. So I don't think we just have to go to one extreme and stay over there. And I mean, it's life. Like we still have to be able to enjoy what we eat, enjoy what we eating and enjoy and like you say, like just partake in certain things. But I am gonna be aware and not just, do it
because I can't. Yeah, like I'm chicken right there looking good.
I'm not gonna eat I'm not gonna buy a whole 10-piece and devour it, a whole thing of pizza.
Yeah, because you're conscious of what the effects of your body and what the effects on your spirit.
Yeah,
because I will say for me, Thanksgiving, right? I had Thanksgiving at my house on a Wednesday, and then on Thursday we went to another gathering.
Okay.
Then Saturday I went to a celebration of life, and they had food, and I was at the table. I was so stuffed that I was miserable. Like, and I stopped myself from eating because I felt it and I backed up from the table. But later that week, I was in a mental space that was sad. Like I was just feeling like I wanted to cry for no reason. And, part of it, I felt like it was because, the warfare wanted to be on me because I had a podcast that I was trying to get done.
Yeah.
And if it kept my mind, that it could keep me. But it's also about, like you said, what you're putting into your bodies. We don't know what those things suffered for us to partake in. And so I was like, maybe the chicken was sad or maybe the turkey was sad, because like, honestly, that's where my mind goes because it's like, what happened in between this week and that week?
Yeah.
And I didn't engage in any unhealthy communication. I went to a funeral, but I wasn't sad. I'm never sad at funerals because I feel like it's a celebration of life. They're on the other side of life, exactly. And I did, and I told my mom, I said, I touched my mom's godfather's mother because she cried out. And my first thing as a nurturer, I am a servant at heart. I ran over to console her.
Yeah.
But as they were consoling her, I put my hand on her and I prayed over her. And I'm like, well, maybe her sorrow overtook me. But no, it was my spirit being sad from all of the stuff that I had partaken because I was like, Like, I just was sad. Like, I was like, I don't want to ever feel like this no more. And I just didn't know why I was sad. And I was like, normally I can place where the sadness came from. But my spirit was so grieved after those 3 days. And I promise you, I didn't overeat like I normally do. I literally ate in moderation, but my body was full.
Yeah.
My spirit was full. So let's talk about.
Before we go into that, I just want to add, hearing you talk about that, I think about food as a way to give us fuel. So, some people emotional eat, some people, they have these eating habits where it's like rebound, like they will starve themselves and just like kind of just go ham on it. But I try to look at my food as fuel. And like when I do start to get to those moments like, oh, like I'm getting real full and I'm like getting miserable, like I'm like, food was never supposed to make us feel miserable. When we finish eating, I got some energy and now I can go ahead and take on the next task or, whatever. But, and I think that's the thing in our community too, where we just, especially around the holidays, we just like, oh, that's there. I'm going to get that. But around the holidays, even any time of year, honestly, like I'm only going to put like just a little bit of taste of each of those things on my plate. And if I want more, I'll go back and get more. But other than that, I just want to eat. I'm gonna try a little bit of everything just to satisfy me, but I don't want to be miserable because I didn't sit there and stuff myself with all the things.
But even I did, just like you said, and I put a little bit of everything, and I was conscious about not eating, because like for the funeral, I didn't eat anything right before the funeral because I was like, I know I'm gonna eat, and I'm still kind of full from the other days, and I just grabbed a little something. Like, and honestly, I try to make myself busy by, putting everybody else's plates and do it so that I could take my mind off of it. But I didn't even finish the plate. I didn't even get to that because I was already so uncomfortable that I was like, Lord, forgive me. I don't want to give food, but I need to stop eating. So I turned my bowl on top of the thing and I went through it away. So I didn't want it, but I was just like, and my husband the next day, he was like, oh, we're going to go out to dinner. I said, baby, I don't want to see no more food. I don't see no more food. We cannot have this, Scott. We can go find another type of date to go on, but I don't want no food. I don't want no food. And like you said, the food should revigorate you. And I've been on several food journeys. One of them, I did a 40-day juice fast and I had the most energy. I was dancing around the lab because at this time I was working in the lab. I was dancing around the lab like I had ounces of sugar and I didn't. And I was so alive. Like my body was alive. I didn't have no aches. I didn't have no pains. And then I also did this thing called a 40-day turn up. If you know anything about it, try it. It's very good. So like you're saying, instead of depriving ourselves of something, even though we don't do a lot of carbs, but we find out that the carbs are associated with vegetables and you get a lot of carbs from your vegetables and your fruit.
You need carbs too.
Yeah. And so with that, they show you how to make your plate 80%. So 80% of fruits and vegetables and the other 20% of the other things that you like your protein, your fat. And so that gave me a lot of energy. And then they incorporate the movement. By no means am I getting paid for it to advertise it, but I feel like that is a good way that, put me on a journey because I did veganism for a while and that was pretty good too. Like I said, that was the day that I did the 40-day fast on the juice and I was so alive, putting so much life into my body and I love it. And I'm like, okay, Lord, on this journey that I'm about to do, how would you have me do it? So like, should I go back to the 40-day turn up and do this and do the reset? Because I love community. I'm all about community and I love for people to hold me accountable. For some reason, people feel like they don't need to hold me accountable because I got everything together. But I'm like, I'm human. Come on, give me the accountability. Now, I'm not competitive by no means. Like, I'll try my best, but that ain't the portion God gave me. I'm not competitive at all. But I'll motivate you. I definitely will do that. And it's just another level. And like for me, I want to go to the holistic side of things. Like you said, you try for the most part to be holistic. So give us a little snippet of what that means for you. Like, how do you pull all of the things and like, what can you do in each area to kind of make you have this kind of holistic life?
Yeah. So for me, first of all, I always start my day off with prayer. The first thing I do, most days when I wake up, soon as like I feel myself conscious enough, like I'm just like, thank you, Lord. Even if my brain not really processing what I'm saying, I'm still like, thank you, Lord. Thank you. I'm like moving my arms and my legs, like, thank you, Lord, for activity of my limbs. Thank you that I'm waking up this morning. Thank you that I didn't wake up in the middle of the night to no phone call, no text message, any of that. I'm just like thanking him for like my basic needs being met in the morning. And then like come to full consciousness, either doing like a Bible plan or some type of devotional, reading a book. I was just telling you that I was reading The Battlefield of the Mind, like just something that is spiritually led, the Bible, those type of things. I have to start my day with God. That's how I get my day started. And then I usually like play some worship music as I'm getting ready. And then like just throughout the day, like sometimes I'll just like find random moments to pray, or like if I see somebody, I'll just like say like a quiet prayer to myself to them. For my food in the beginning of the week, I try to like not necessarily meal prep, but like I'm pretty aware of the things I'm going to be eating that week. That way I'm not using mental energy throughout the week trying to figure out what I'm gonna eat today, and then spending unnecessary money. And I feel like all of this, it just makes a snowball effect. If you're not properly prepared, like it just makes a snowball effect and make your life harder. So I try to at the beginning of the week plan out my meals. My workouts is usually spontaneous. I'm trying to get to a place. When I was an athlete, everything used to be so structured. I knew I was working out at this time. Now, like having a real life job and all of those different things. Some days it's just a 30-minute walk out at the park. Some days I am able to get in the gym either at school or here at home. And I just like do like my upper body. I basically do full body. If I'm only doing 3 days a week, I'm gonna do like a full body, a workout 2 days a week. And then the third day, I'll do like some core exercises and things like that. And then emotionally, I've been really trying to be more aware of like my emotions and just how my response is kind of like how you saying, like when you say you touched the lady who was grieving and you was like, did I take on that spirit? So like just being aware of if I'm taking on the spirit. So like even in my body as a woman, knowing the times of months and all of that, just like being aware of what I'm feeling and why I'm feeling it. So I think it's the emotional part is more conscious for me. And then sometimes I do like journal or just like reading. I also put like the self-care and emotional kind of under that same umbrella, because like sometimes you just need to take a nap for self-care and your emotions. Like sometimes you just need to lay down and rest. But like just those are kind of the pillars that I go for. And I am a quality time type of person. So I got to make sure like I'm getting some time in with my family and things like that, because like sometimes I'm like, I just need a hug. Like I haven't had like that physical touch in a while. Quality time with the ones I love most and just getting that,
Getting that warmth.
Yeah.
And so you're saying about the emotional side, about being conscious of what you're feeling and knowing that, physically and spiritually, it's okay to not feel good, right?
It is fine. And I don't think I came to this point, honestly, to like maybe a year or two ago. Like I used to just try to mask it, or like something is wrong with you. And like, once again, like our community, like something wrong with you, like you need to get, but it's like, no, like yes, something is wrong, but like, let me sit in it, figure it out. And even just giving my space to language, like watching certain podcasts, like, self-help and, certain spiritual leaders, helping you to find language for exactly how you feeling. A lot of it, what I learned was that sometimes I may be angry, but that anger is not truly anger. It's just I'm disappointed because you let me down. Like a lot of those big emotions come out because we don't have language specifically for what we're experiencing, or we may be embarrassed to say, hey, you hurt my feelings, or something like that. I think it's important to find that language, and it's important to be able to talk to people and have safe spaces, have safe landing places to where they're not going to be judging you. And like, they just let you be in all of you, not having to be the strong one and not having to be, but just like, let me be human for a second while I figure this out, or, whatever my resolve is, let me be human first.
Yeah, and you definitely touched on that because that's one of the things with me. When I was going through that sad period, my mom and my sister called to check on me, and I was like, "Look, I don't have the energy or the space to try to defend or explain what I'm going through. I need to figure it out. Just give me a moment, and when I'm good, I'm gonna call you."
Yeah.
Because being the strong one is it's a good thing, but I kind of had to train my peers and my mom to understand that y'all see me as strong. I am strong, but I also am weak. And when I need that community, I need that understanding. I need you to understand it's not about you. It's about what I'm going through, and I don't want to make it about you, and I don't want to attack you. So just give me the space. And so my mom and my sister and my sisters and brothers are an awesome group that I have. And it took a while because, like you say, you're the strong one, so they expect you to be resilient because that's what they see. You always going, you always tough, you always resilient, you always got things together. But to show that human side that I'm not always okay, and that it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
It's okay to not to be, and I had to get to that space. Because like mentally, for me, we were talking before we started the podcast on the battlefield of mind, that for me, for every believer, is a true battlefield going on in our mind.
Yeah.
And for me, I know the enemy fights me more in my mind because he know he can't do nothing physically or he can't do nothing outward to get me, but inward, because I'm an analytical thinker. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm all these things. So then he makes you start doubting, are you truly these things? And so for me, it's just understanding, no, you're gonna come under subjection too. You're gonna get yourself in line and understand that I'm gonna figure out what's going on. And I'm gonna surrender it to God so he can do what he needs to do, because at the end of the day, it's not about me handling it. He knows, and I have to release the control of me trying to figure it out. And just let you say it, like you said, sit in it for a moment so that we can develop that language to be like, okay, because there's so many different acronyms for feelings.
So many.
Not just mad, not just happy, not just sad. There's a lot of emotions that leads to those big ones. And when you don't take care of the little ones, the big ones magnify. But this has been awesome.
I got something else I want to say though, based off of that. Honestly, Satan attacks me in my mind as well. So in between all of the track and, becoming an athlete and running at LSU, actually when I was at LSU, I had the opportunity because there came a point, because I was always like a smart, on elite test, mastery, advanced, and all of these different things, and just was always striving. Like I was always trying to be the top. And when I got to LSU, of course, this is big world. Like you're competing against a lot more people. You competing against a lot of talented people. So my mental health actually started suffering because I wasn't just easily excelling like I was used to. And so I actually started talking to a sports psychologist during that time. And I would say opening up and talking to him changed my life so much as well, because I was able to not only like give words to some of those emotions, but also get up some of that baggage from like my childhood and just things that I didn't know were impacting me. I just thought I was not doing good in the classroom and on the track. But it was like, actually, girl, deep down inside, you got some things that you didn't press down and you haven't dealt with, because first of all, you were a kid and you were a young adult. So you don't really know that these things are impacting you the way that they are. And some of these things are in your subconscious. So, it really allowed me to open up and get that help, which was also not as common. Like this was my freshman year of college, which was in like 2013. So that's when the mental health thing was really kind of starting to, ramping up and all that. So it was still kind of some pushback with a couple family members and everything. But I'm glad that I still decided to keep on going, because that was God once again using the therapist to help me push me into another level, because I don't think I would be the person that I am today. I think maybe I wouldn't be here now. Maybe God would have still, God gonna do God, and he has his plan.
Purpose,
his purpose and plan is gonna be fulfilled regardless. But I think that really propelled me. And that kind of season of my life is actually what led me to writing the devotional about how to repurpose the mind, because I was really suffering in my mind at the time. So I just allowed God to give me tools and think about some things that he had me doing while I was in those spaces. And you hit it on something earlier. We have to equip our minds we have to get that word in us. We have to be in community with people, and we have to be under leadership who is covering us. We just have to have that boat of scriptures and everything, because we are fighting a warfare. Like, Satan doesn't want us to realize our full potential, because he knows what God has in purpose for us. And if he could take us out, that's one less he got to deal with. So we have to make sure that we are equipping our minds, we are equipping ourselves, giving ourselves all the tools that we need to be successful and to live a purposeful life, to live a full, long life. We just got to make sure that we are being intentional about those things, because he don't want to see us. He don't want to see us doing this. He don't want to see us, helping out the next one. He don't want to see us in heaven. He's just pitiful, and he's sad, and he wants everybody to go with him.
Yeah, because he made a mistake, so he wants us to make that same mistake. But Satan, you and I, we are definitely touching a subject right now, like you said, repurposing the mind. Tell us a little bit about what you teach in that devotional.
Yeah, so I am a step-by-step type of person. I'm like a processes type of person, organizational type of person. So I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. The first thing that you do to repurpose your mind is, of course, acknowledging the nature of God, knowing who God actually is, not who you think he is or what you was taught to believe God is. Like, really going into like the scriptures and really reading that Bible to understand God's true nature, who he actually is. Then the next thing you're going to do is, for me specifically, overcoming trauma. So now that you know who God is, then you're going to overcome that trauma. You're going to do the work, go to therapy, get your journal, write, have conversations, do some reflection, just to get some of that stuff out of you that has been, pressed down, that stuff that you haven't really thought about. So overcoming that trauma, because if the enemy could keep you in that trauma, he could keep you unproductive, like we just said. And then that next thing, you got to do an exodus. Like, you gotta leave the place that you have been, and you got to go to a different place. Sometimes the exodus, like the children of Israel, they were physically move from one place to another. But in this time, we really don't have to physically move ourselves. Like, our exodus is just having a different thought processes, believe in different ideals. And then we're going to equip our minds with that scripture. We're going to really watch podcasts with believers and not these people who just be talking crazy mess. Getting connected to a church, getting under some leadership, finding you some community, reading Bible plans. There's so many Bible plans out there. There's so many spiritual books. Getting locked in with that. And then that last thing, after you equip your mind, then you want to live on purpose. Then you want to start taking that action and living out all of the things that you overcome and living the scripture. And now that you know God's nature, you are allowing your life to align with his nature and his promises and his will for your life. So living on purpose and living through your purpose as well. So what God has called you to do, doing that, not being just a passerby in life and just letting things happen to you, but like actually taking that action to live on purpose.
And live intentionally. And that's awesome what you were saying, like, making the moves to live intentionally. And so what are some tools that you would say that would help you live an intentional life? Like, for example, you're a young lady. Give us an example of how you would live intentionally in your dating life. Like, if you want to edify God, like what is one of those things that you would say you had to do intentionally?
Even now, one of the things, I wouldn't let people come to my place, because I'm like, I know I want to glorify God. So I'm not going to let you come over here, because I don't want to let no room for the enemy, because we are flesh. Hallelujah. So I don't want to get comfortable. I always think about the scripture that says, like, Jesus was tempted. It may not be the exact words, but Jesus was tempted, but he still didn't sin. And then, like, God will create a way for our escape from temptation and all of that. So I always think about that. Like, there's always a way that you can get out of something that you put. But also, I try not to put myself in situations where I could be compromised. And then, especially as a Christian woman, not dating outside of that. So I want to make sure, like, you can cover me. We have the same beliefs. You're not going to, push me in ways that go outside of what God's will is for my life. So he has to be a believer, because then if you can't cover me and you can't pray for our purpose if you don't believe in
Yeah.
the same things I believe or don't believe at all. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, and that's good. And that's just some examples of how you can be intentional about the walk that you take in.
Mm.
And so, tell us a little about where we can get your devotional, where we can follow you.
So you can follow me at it's the Rich Life with Be Rich.
So where can we get your devotional?
So you can reach out to me on Instagram and I can send it to you. Just send me a DM and that's how you get it.
Okay, well, we looking.
Yes.
So, is there anything else that God is calling you to do in this new season? Like, is there any more devotionals you're looking at? Is there any? Are you trying to open up a personal training business? Is there anything that God is doing to you, moving you towards in this new season?
So actually at our church, I have a ministry that's going to be coming up in January. Basically, it's called Faithfully Fed. And it's basically these things that we just talked about, being conscious of like our eating habits and being conscious to move our bodies, being spiritually fit. We really just want to equip believers to maximize their lives, maximize their potential. Like I said, I want people to live full lives. And my ideal is to die empty. I want to give everything that I can while I'm here on this earth. So I just want to always give people tools to be able to do their ministry and live healthy lives. I'm still thinking about, I do want to write another devotional, but God hasn't necessarily released it yet and given me everything like he did with the last one. He gave things to me over time, so I'm still getting deposits. But that's kind of it for right now.
Okay. Do you have the dates for the fitness?
We're starting late January. Can't think of the date off the top of my head, but it's late January.
And when we find out the dates, I will link it to the podcast so that you guys will know. I'll put it on all my social media. Yeah. So one last thing I would say, a message that you have for the audience, anything you would like to share with the audience?
I just want to say live purposefully, get active doing whatever God has called you to do and to be, no matter how scary it may seem, no matter how childish or how saturated you feel like your market is. I would just say just get busy doing it because God has called you to do it for a specific reason. You were wired differently to do it differently than what everybody else has done. So I would just say just start do what God has called you to do. Get in community. Community is so big because those are people who can push you, hold you accountable, and just make sure that you are doing the things that God has called you to do. So that's what I would say. Just live on purpose and just be the best that you can be through God.
So you've heard it here. Live on purpose. Thank you so much for joining us on the journey to me. Until next time, understand that this journey is uniquely yours.
That's what you said. Yeah. That's what you said. You know that I need it. Feeling like Jonah, brothers unload now. How we gonna find our way? Feeling like Moses, man, the Lord chose us. Now we gotta find our way. Feeling like David, man, I done gave him all. I gotta find my way. You never failed me. I'm still feeling like Jonah, brothers unload now. How we gonna find our way? Feeling like Moses, man, the Lord chose us. Now we gotta find our way. Feeling like David, man, I done gave him all. I gotta find my way. You never failed me. That's what you said. That's what he said. Been through the fire, never burned, but it's dead. Love you forever, even more to the end. 'Cause all that I needed, thy hands have provided. Yeah, 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 yeah. All of them ups and downs. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Never knew it come this far, but now we're here, yeah, yeah. Everything we ever knew, now we give it up to you. That's what he said. Been through the fire, never burned, but it's dead. Love you forever, even more to the end. 'Cause all that I needed, thy hands have provided. Feeling like Jonah, brothers unload now. How we gonna find our way? Feeling like Moses, man, the Lord chose us. Now we gotta find our way. Feeling like David, man, I done gave him all. I gotta find my way. You never failed me. I'm still feeling like Jonah, brothers unload now. We gon' find our way. Feeling like Moses, man, the Lord chose us. Now we gotta find our way. Feeling like David, man, I done gave him all. I gotta find my way. You never fit me. That's what you said. Yeah, that's what you said.